Go ahead.
So tell us in a nutshell what happened today. What was there was a lot of back and forth between you and the chairwoman.
Yeah, because number one, I'm frustrated. We haven't had a public safety meeting since May. There's a group of people who are out there in Erie County Prison Reform who are demonstrating every week about the condition at the Holding Center. We know that there's been a partial settlement with the suicide prevention that has been adjudicated between the judge, the DOJ, and the Erie County. But yet still, that group, the Prison Right Reform Coalition, have not had dialogue. We have drafted a citizen review resolution to create a 15-member citizen community advisory panel. That is in competition with a local law that was filed by Christine Bovee. Right now, both of those are stuck in her committee. Now, that's not a bad thing, being stuck in a committee if you hold the meetings. But the problem is, she refused to hold a meeting. She refused to allow the vice chairperson, which I thought is the vice chairperson duty when a chairperson doesn't meet, to hold the meeting.
Who's the vice chair?
The vice chair, I think it might be Tim Kennedy, but I'm not 100%. It's either Tim Kennedy or Dan Cosa. It's Dan Cosa.
Okay.
So Dan Cosa, chair of public safety, years before Ms. Bovee came in the legislature. He's an able person who would be able to chair that meeting. So if she is unavailable or choosing not to hold a meeting, she should not hold up the legislative process by refusing to call a meeting. That's one thing that's wrong with the county charter, because I don't think a chairperson or any person, one person, has a right to hold up the community's business and the people's business.
And there's no provision in the charter or
There's
any
no
law
provision
to force a committee meeting to be held?
The chairperson has that right, that responsibility, and that authority. However, the chairperson sees doesn't see what Mrs. Bovee is doing is wrong, or she's agreeing with it. I think it's a political move. I think it's a political move to deny the community and those civil rights and those community activists a chance to have their position heard and for us to approve the resolution. I think the votes are there for the resolution. I think we will get 8 votes to create a 15-member community advisory board. But however, if it's stuck in committee, then there's nothing that can be done. I had asked for that resolution to be sent to community enrichment. If Ms. Bovee refused to meet and public safety, have the resolution transfer to community enrichment. The chairperson, Barbara Miller-Williams, has denied that opportunity. She had voted against that, and she refused to allow the clerk of the legislator to transfer it to another committee.
I mean, it almost seemed as if you were practically pleading with the chairwoman as someone who represents similar districts in the
Absolutely.
city, that this the passion that you have for the community to be heard should be shared by her.
Oh, absolutely,
is that
absolutely.
True?
85% of the people in the Holding Center are minorities and poor, and mainly coming from the 3rd or the 7th legislative district, our district. And I expect her to fight for her community and fight for those rights and fight for those activists as hard as I, because that's the promise she made. And she made a promise 2 weeks ago that she will allow that resolution to be transferred from public safety, where there's no meeting, into community enrichment. But she also has the authority to transfer it. And she has the authority, being an ex officio member of every committee, to hold the meeting herself. There's no chairperson for finance, there's no chairperson for government affairs, she chairs those committees. So in essence, she could chair the committee and she could hold the meeting. Okay. And I want to know why she does not.
And now the question on whether or not it goes to committee was defeated. So what happens next? Is it done?
It's done. It's been approved.
Okay.
None of us wanted to not approve it because those positions are necessary and needed for the mental health issues at the Holding Center. But also we want to know what are the responsibilities of those workers that we're hiring. We want to know, does the community has a right to come in, and what is the, what's the official response of the county executive and the county attorney? All we get is the thing to prove. We have no dialogue. It comes over as immediate action. It could have been clocked in Tuesday, where we could have had it, we could have discussed it, but everything he does it by decree. He wants it done the same day, without any discussion, without any input from the legislature, and I was not elected to be a rubber stamp.
And there were a couple of legislators who, and if you can expand on this a little bit, who complained about the fact that there was no transparency with respect to these items that were...
Absolutely. Well, the Reform Coalition, when they convened and when they formed their coalition in January, the first thing they were saying is that we're going to have transparency. Well, how's the transparency when you bring something over, we know you automatically have a 9 vote to get it passed, and you just want to bulldoze it through? So that's not transparency. What it is I think it's ruled by dictatorship, to be honest with you.
Okay.
No, I'm good.